Hello grade 12s and welcome to Life Science. Today we're going to have a look at the human ear, right? Because we've already done the nervous system, can't work today, right? The motor neurons and the sensory neurons, right? And the connecting neurons. So now we're going to have a look at your senses. So we're going to start off with the ear. So let's see. First one, I want you to do the following. It's a little bit of terminology, of course, and I need you to tell me, what do the following words or terms mean? Okay, first one. Mechanical receptor. Next one, impulse, and then you get vibration. So those three little ones, tell me what they mean, and I'm going to give you a quick minute. Let's see if you can get them right. Off you go. So these words that I've given you, okay, the first one I already gave you a big hint, okay, because it's actually mechanoreceptors, right? So let's have a look if you got the answers right. Firstly, the first one, mechanoreceptors, okay, it's a sense organ or cell that responds to a mechanical stimulus such as touch or sound. Now remember I said mechanical receptor, so I've already gave you that little hint, right? The next one that we had a look at, okay, is an impulse. Okay, now you must listen to an impulse very carefully because this is where your sensory and your motor neurons come from. Here we go. It's a signal that travels along the length of a nerve fiber, remember? Okay, and ends with the releasing of neurotransmitters. Okay, so in other words, it's passing on from one to the next. Okay, and then the last one, of course, is vibration, and this is a very nice one because we're going to use it, okay? And it is a periodic movement of particles. So in other words, something's going to move. It's a vibration. It's particles that are moving, okay? So here we go. Let's jump straight into the ear. Now you will see this beautiful picture, okay? And forget about the words all around it. Okay, so if you forget about the words, we're just going to have a look at the stuff here. You'll notice that you've got the outside of the ear running. I'm just going to stop it there, running there. Now, that part there, okay, is very important. That's this piece out here. Okay, sometimes they go like this, sometimes they flat. Okay, they're there for a very, very good reason. If we have a look at it, okay, they're called your pinna. Now, they are outside here to collect sound. Okay, and the cool thing is if you feel them, if you stick your fingers in your ear, okay, it runs a certain way. So you start over here, okay, and if you stick your finger in and you move it, you'll notice that it catches the sound and brings it right into a big hole in the side here. Okay, it's a way to move sound. So it catches the sound and moves it to go into the ear itself or inside that hole that we're talking about. Right, so the pin is very important. If you cut this off, you're not going to hear as well. Nice thing is, if you want to hear somebody, always put like this. It looks like a dish, and you can hear it becomes a lot louder. That's cool, hey? So that is just the pinna, okay? Then you have this tube over here, which we'll talk about, and it's stopped by a membrane that's over here. There's this pink membrane. Can you see it? Stopped by that pink membrane. And that pink membrane is called your ear drum. Now, I'm using small words. We'll talk about your tympanic membrane just now, but it's called an eardrum. So it stops. So there's a big hole and then it stops, okay, with a tympanic membrane. Now, on the one side of the tympanic membrane is where the sound is going to hit. On the other side, there's a little bone joint, okay? And remember, I'm going to start off simple. So we're going to start off with the well, I suppose I can't give it, I'm going to go for it. Hammer, okay? From your hammer, you're going to get your anvil, which is another little bone. And lastly, you're going to get your stapes, okay? And those three bones move according to your membrane because they stuck onto it, so they move. They end off, okay? So there's those three bones. Let's see if I can change color. There they are. There's the one. Can you see? There's the next one. And then there's the last one. Okay, so there's three little bones. This is a quick summary of it. Those three little bones are joined to your cochlea, right? Which is a simple thing over here. It looks like a shell, okay? And inside there, you've got your liquid that picks up the sound, and from there, it sends a nerve all the way to the brain. That's how the ear, in a nutshell, works. Okay, so let's have a look at the big words that I had a look at. Okay, firstly, you have your pinna. Okay, very simple. You have your external auditory canal. Okay, that's this hole that you normally clean out with the earwax, right? You have a tympanic membrane or your eardrum. Okay, we'll get to the oval window later and the round window. We'll have a look at those, and those are very, very important. Okay, we have the eustachian tube, which you won't believe it. If that thing's blocked, we're in big trouble. Okay, and then you have your cochlea, which I spoke about. Okay, you have your ordinary Corti, your organ of Corti, which is a big thing altogether. You have your semicircular canals. There we go. Okay, and you have your hammer, your anvil, and your stapes, which are all bones. Hey, they're the small bones. Okay, they're your very, very, very small bones. They are the smallest, if I'm not mistaken, in the body. Cool. So those are the main ones that we're having a look at in the ear. And as we're going through them, I'm going to explain them slowly but surely. How cool is that? Right. Okay. So let's see. Here we go. As a quick thing that I want you to do, okay, what I'm going to do is, as I sit here, I'm just going to move this a little bit down so we can see if you can get it right, okay, and I'm going to move this up. There we go. And I want to see if you remember exactly the labels that I was talking about in a few minutes, right? And I'm going to give you 3 minutes to quickly do that, right? Concentrate, don't get mistaken with certain things. Are you ready? Off you go. let's see how you did. Now, first of all, before we even get to the labels and seeing if you guys were right, what I want you to do is I want you to actually have a good look. You'll see that there's dotted lines, okay? And here it is. I'm just going to bring them down. There's the one, okay? There's the next one. And then there's the last one, okay? Now, there's that part, then there's this piece, and then there's that piece. Now, they're dividing that for a reason. You get your outer ear, which consists of this piece here, okay? I haven't given a name to it yet. All the way down that tube, all the way to that yellow thing over there, okay? This yellow part. Then you've got the yellow part to the snail-looking thing, and then from that snail thing, that whole snail thing, and these funny little circular yellowy greenish thing over there, right? That is different. So each one of them has a special part. You have the outer ear, okay? Then you have the middle ear, which consists of that yellow thing and all the way down to just before that the snail, and then you've got the snail, which is the inner ear. Okay, so you've got outer, middle, inner, just so that you know. That's quite cool, huh? Now, let's have a look at how you did. Let's start with simple things. Okay, first one, pinna, right? Your pinna is the outer part of your ear, which is this piece here, okay? Next one, if I have a look at it, we need to go to auditory canal, which is the canal that joins. So we've only done the outer ear so far, okay? From there, we need to go to this, remember that yellow thing, and that yellow thing, if I can find it now, where is it? There it is, tympanic membrane, and I'm going to move it all the way across over there. Cool, okay. Then we've got these funny little colored things. Remember we spoke about the colored things, right? And I said we've got some big words, okay? And remember we know the small one, like the eardrum, remember, is a tympanic membrane. Now we need to have a look at what these three little bones called. Can you remember? Okay, it was the hammer, the anvil, and the stirrup. Okay, and here we go. First one, your malleus. Okay, over there, it's the first bone. Okay, then you get the next bone, which is called your incus. Okay, which is that one over there. And what I'm going to actually do is I'm just going to erase this little bit so we can see. And then you get your last bone, which is your stapes, which is over there. So I'll erase that one so we can actually see what we're doing. That's quite cool. So we've got the three bones, okay? From there, we've got this shell-like thing. Remember I told you about the shell-like thing? And that is your cochlea, okay? Then you have your nerve. I've left out places, I know. You have your nerve, which needs to go to the brain, so that's that one over there, okay? Then you have this funny little orange thing with all those funny little circles, okay? That one goes over there. Let me erase that so you can see. And then, of course, we have one label left in one part, and that's your eustachian tube, which we did speak about earlier. So there we have it. So hopefully you've got that exact replica of what I've got there. They're nice and simple. Now, I just want to have a look at the next slide, and I want you to have a good look at that slide. So now I've taken everything out. So look carefully at that slide. Now, with that slide, you will notice that it's nice and clear. It's a lot clearer than all the other slides that we had a look at, right? And it starts off with a pinna going into all the different sections, okay? Now, I must, if you look at me, I must be able to give you a picture like that, and you need to be able to label it. You need to be able to tell me the function of each and every one of those specific things, okay? Now, over here, I'm going to have a look how the nerve, or should I say sound, actually transmits through this specific part. Okay, so what I'm going to do before we do that, I'm going to let you go for your quick break so you can breathe and make sure you understand it, right? And when you come back, we're going to slowly but surely go through this and show you how the sound actually moves through every single part of the specific outer, middle, and inner ear. Right, so I'll see you straight after this break. Okay, so now that you've had your break, let's have a look at how sound moves through this whole structure. Now, remember I told you in the beginning that your pinna is shaped in a specific way. If you have a look at it one more time, over here, it's going to catch the sound. You'll see it's got a little lip. It'll catch the sound and it'll bring it all the way down. So it's going to catch the sound over here and bring it all the way down into the auditory canal. Okay, so the sound is going to move in there. As it comes across, goes in that hole, okay, and it's going to hit the tympanic membrane. Okay, now, if you look at me, the tympanic membrane is like this. Okay, it looks like that in your ear. Your station, the auditory canal comes in here, and this is where it is. Now remember, sound is a vibration. If you didn't know that, have a look at it. If you're playing loudspeakers or anything and you put your hand on it, you can feel the vibrations, right? So sound also is a vibration, which we spoke about earlier, okay? So your tympanic membrane is sitting like this. As the sound's coming in, it vibrates, okay, the tympanic membrane in this motion, okay? Now, if it is like a deep bass, so very, very bass, okay, it moves slowly, very slowly in this motion, okay? If it is a high pitch, it's very, very quick. So I can't move my hand that quick, but it moves very, very quickly. So you can tell the difference between a bass and a treble, or should I say a high pitch, okay? Now, that is what the tympanic membrane does. It picks up that movement, okay? Now, if by some chance your tympanic membrane gets damaged, okay, and gets this huge hole in it, it's not going to move. It's not going to feel that pressure. That pressure is just going to go through the hole. That means you won't be able to move it, and that's where we already stop the sound going any further. So you could become deaf, okay? So please understand, you never smack somebody on the ear, because what are you going to do? You're going to create pressure and damage the tympanic membrane, which could cause them to go deaf, okay? Very bad ringing sensation if that happens. Okay, now, so we've got there and we've made this membrane vibrate, okay? And now you have 3 bones. And if I have a look at these 3 bones, I'm going to put one over here. I'm just going to quickly draw it for you. Goes up there. There's the one, okay? And then you have another which comes down to there and comes back up there, okay? And then you get the last one, which is over here. It comes across, divides into 2. Let me bring it down again. It goes over there. And that's what we have. Okay, so we've got the 3 bones. Now, each one of these bones, okay, you will notice that they're joined. One is joined over there, and one is joined over there. So you can see me actually putting the joiners in, where they're actually joining. Right, now, I'm going to look at the first 2. So I'm going to look at the first one. There's 1 and there's 2. If I look at the first one, okay, they joined here. So as this one moves, what's it going to do with this one? It's going to move this one. So as this one moves, see how I'm moving, because it's stuck to me. As it's moving my other hand. Okay. Now what happens is this first bone, okay, or the malleus, it's joined to, over here, it's joined to the tympanic membrane. Okay, and if it's joined to the tympanic membrane, every time the tympanic membrane moves, so does the malleus, right? So it moves up and down like this. Okay, and it's pushing the incus. So it's just pushing the incus further and away from each other. So it moves in this direction. Okay, now if I have a look, as I'm moving the incus, we're going to get to the bottom, which is your stapes, and they join there. So every time it moves, it pushes the next one. Okay, are you happy with what I've done so far? So the one bone moves the other bone, which moves the other bone, and they swivel on a little axis to create a movement. Okay, it's create a movement. That movement is very, very, very important. Okay, now that movement there, if that doesn't happen, we have a problem. So if I have a look at it, as the vibration, we're sending the vibration up that bone, down that bone, and to that bone. Okay, so we've moved all the way up to there. If you've watched how we've gone. So all the way up to there. Okay, now, very simple. We've just used vibration of sound, right? Put on a tympanic membrane, we've moved it to mechanical motion. So in other words, something that moves. And we've put that onto 3 bones. It makes the bones move, right? Then from there, we've taken it and we've put it, or the vibrations of that bone come to a specific point. Okay. Now this specific point is right over here. Can you see over there where the black is? Okay. There's one thing there and there is another one over there. Okay. Those are called your windows. Okay, it's called your round window and your oval window. Okay, now if I had a look at it, okay, over here, look at your stapes. Okay, your stapes over there. I'm on black again, so let me change to pink. If I look at my stapes, look at what the shape of it is. Okay, which means it would go into an oval window. Okay, it goes into an oval window. Now I know, what is the point of this window? It's a big thing. Okay, this point of this window is very, very important, okay, because it shows you how the cochlea works. Now, the cochlea is a shell, okay, and it works, if I draw it over here, this is the cochlea, this one over here, it's actually divided into 2 sections, okay, so I'm going to do this. It's divided into 2, okay, so it goes all the way around, okay, and it comes all the way in and then up to there, okay, so it's divided into 2 sections, okay. First one, let me see if I can get another color here. First one, this part here, this stapes, okay, as it pushes, there's this window, and this window's got a thin membrane on it, okay, and the stapes is pushing against the window like this. So every time the stapes moves, it pushes in, okay, and inside here is a liquid, and every time I push that, I push the liquid, and this liquid runs all the way up to the top, and then comes all the way back down to the bottom and out the round window. So the one goes from the oval, and then one goes to the round. Now, if the stapes is pushing here, and it sends the liquid up all the way back and all the way back to the round window, if there wasn't a round window, you should know from pressure, if there's nowhere for the water to go, or the liquid inside the ear, you're not going to be able to push, right? So what happens is, every time you push in here, the liquid runs all the way up, all the way down, and on the round window, it protrudes out, creating that motion so everything can move. Okay, so that is what happens in the cochlea. And inside the cochlea is little nerve endings. And those little nerve endings, every time specific water comes through, or should I say that the liquid, I don't want to give the liquid's name away because I'm going to ask you just now. Every time it gets there, it moves little sensors or touches little sensors. And specific sensors get touched at specific places, which gives you different sound. Because then it's going to stimulate the nerve that is in here, right? That's going to be shot out to the brain later. Does that make sense? That's how sound actually travels. Okay, so I showed you through the drawings and how everything moves. Very, very important thing that. Now, if one of these are broken, we are in big, big, big trouble. So then you're going to hear about people getting cochlear implants. Right. Now, have you noticed that I've done everything except for this piece here? Those fun little things. We will get to that. Those are the cool ones. Okay? Now, let's have a look. I've got a thing here for you that I want to see how good you actually are. Okay? I want you to have a look. Okay? Very simple. I want you to have a look at the term and descriptions provided below and match them with the numbers on and letters. So if I have a look at this. Okay, so I've got 1. Let's do it like this. Let's give you 1 to 4, and then I will give you 5 and 6. Okay, so 1 to 4. I want to see, I can't do that, can I? Okay, I'm going to move it up and down because you need to be able to see it. So I'm going to count to 3 every time. Okay, and then I'm going to move it. Here we go. Listen carefully. I'm going to give you 3 minutes to quickly do this. Okay, so every time I'm just going to move it up slightly and then down slightly. Okay, 3 minutes. Are you ready? Concentrate. Okay, off you go. Hope you weren't too confused. Yo, this thing going up and down like this can get quite confusing. Let's see if you could do it the same way I can. Okay, and we can do it nice and quickly. So what I'm going to do, instead of writing all the words again, I'm just going to put the letters where they belong, right? So let's see. Let's start with that one. If I have a look at the first one, myself, I normally look at the descriptions first. Okay, so it makes it easier for me. That's how I see it. A lot of people do the words first and find the description. Okay, so let's have a look. I have a look at connects the back of the nose and the middle ear, supplies middle ear with air. Okay, now, cochlea, no. Incus, definitely not. Malleus, no. Eardrum, external auditory canal. Have you noticed? I keep saying that wrong, hey? And then pinna, and then eustachian tube. To me, that's where it is. So that will go, A will be over here, that is A. It's the first one. So now, if we go back up to the top, we've already done A. A's out of the way. Cool, huh? Next one. Snail-shaped hearing organ. Snail-shaped hearing organ. There it is. So we have B over there. Okay. Next one. Sticks out from the head, okay, like little wings. How cool is that? I thought that was quite a nice one. And if I have a look at that, bring it all the way down, there it is. And let's be busy with C. So C is over here. Come on, there we go, C. So we've got C now, we've got B now, we've done them all, right? Now got A, B, and C, so that's out of the way. So let's see. It's an anvil. Remember, it's big words. The anvil, it's a bone that helps transmit sound waves from the outer ear to the cochlea. So we have that one. So if I have a look at it, we have two things. We have one of these two. Okay, we need to know which one's which. Let's skip it. Let's say we don't know. Let's have a look what else we have. Then we have the tympanic membrane. Okay, separates the outer ear from the inner ear. Can you remember what that was? Yes, it was simple. That's your eardrum. So we have E. Okay, we've got E. Next one, hammer. It's a bone that helps transmit sound waves from the outer ear to the cochlea. We said we don't know which one is that. Okay, one of the two. It has to be one of the two is either. Let's see which choices that we have. Incus or malleus. We don't know which one. So let's leave that one out. And we end off with the last one, okay, which is the funnels. It funnels sound from the outside to the inner ear, and that, of course, is your eustachian tube. So G goes there, and that means we've done. So we're left with two things. We have a hammer, and we have an anvil, okay, and it means malleus and incus. Now, I don't know how you remember it, but me, I always remember it as a hammer. You get a type of hammer that's made from rubber, okay, and it's called a mallet, okay? So the best way I always remember is if you look at a hammer, okay, you're looking at a mallet. So let's see, which one is closest to a hammer? Let's see. Hammer, there it is. Hammer and mallet, so there we go. That'll be F. So I can cross that one out. And of course, if that one's F, we're left with a specific one. And that means that one is D. There we go. And we've got all of them. That's quite cool, hey? Very, very simple. So, hope I helped you, okay? Now, when you get back, we're going to get into complicated things. So make sure you come back ready to work as hard as you can. I think you need a break because I do. I'll see you now. Cheers. Now that you're back, hopefully that you brought those brains like I asked you to. Right, so here, we've got this thing called balance, right? Now, balance is very, very important to us, okay? It makes us understand where we are. If we stand up straight, we feel the stuff. We can feel what's happening. We know what's going on. Balance is very important for protection. Okay, now let's have a look. Balance, where does it come from? Simple. It comes from the ears. Okay, so, but it doesn't just come from the ear, it comes from the middle ear. Okay, so a bit of the middle ear and a bit of the inner ear. One of those two comes together. Okay, now remember I told you there was parts I missed called, it looked something like it had these big tubes that looked like this coming over each other and then joined together somewhere. Okay, all of those there, they're very, very important. Now let's have a look at it. Okay, sensory information is provided by the utricle, the saccule, and 3 semicircular canals. Those are very, very important. We need those for balance. That's where we get our balance from, right? The utricle and the saccule, okay, detect gravity and linear movement. So if you look at me, left and right, that's what they do. They move left and right, okay? And then the semicircular canals detect rotational movement, so moving all over the place. Okay, now I'll show you now how we can mess around with it. Remember, you must understand that these canals are filled with a liquid, okay? And they are located on the right angle to each other, okay? So they know up and down like this, okay, to each other, and they are filled with a fluid called endolymph, okay? Very simple, very easy. Endolymph, it's a liquid, okay? When the head moves in the direction sensed by a particular canal, okay, the endolymphatic fluid in the lag behind exerts pressure against the canal's sensory receptors. So in other words, as I move, the liquid stays behind and then follows, and it tells you exactly what is happening. And I promise you, I've got the stuff for you, okay? The receptors then send impulses to the brain telling you what is going on. Now, if you have a look at it, there they are. I've got a nice picture for you over there, okay? Now, remember, we worked with this earlier. I'm not interested in that now at the moment. That's going to be for hearing. We're looking at balance. And balance, I'm looking at that part there. Okay, now, firstly, we're going to have a look at the first one, which has got to do with left and right movement. Okay, you don't have to know these labels and the hairs and all of that as like it is here, but you need to know what is going on. Okay, now, if you have a look, the first one is there and the second one is there. That is, remember, it's your satchel. Okay, now, those ones there pick up linear or gravity and left and right movement. And if you have a look, they've got specialized cells, right? They've got specialized cells over here, okay? And these cells have little hairs on them, they're hair cells, okay? And they stick up like this in the liquid. And as the liquid moves, the liquid will move them, okay? So if I'm standing like this, everything is still. And if I move, what happens is the liquid stays behind as my head moves, and as soon as my head stops, the liquid follows. And it'll tell you that I've moved left to right. Okay, so that is how. Now we have one over here. It tells you about gravity. It also moves up and down. Okay, all of that has got to do with hair cells. Now, let's go back. I first want to ask you this. I first need to tell you this. Here we have these funny tubes, and if you have a look at these tubes, I'm going to do this, and it goes in here. This is still filled with a liquid. Remember, it's filled with liquids, okay? So we spoke about the satchels, it's over here, and now we have the semicircular canals, which are these ones that I've just drawn in over here, okay? And they work with rotation. So there's a liquid in there that spins, okay? Now, this liquid is so important, and I want you to think about it. If you spin in a circle, okay, why do you get drunk? Why does it feel like you're drunk and you can't find your balance? Okay, think about it carefully. As you're spinning, so is the liquid that is in those canals, okay? And what happens the minute you stop, now those liquids start swirling, and as they start swirling, you can't make up your mind if you're still or if you're moving, and the body messes around with you. If you want to know another one, okay, try this. This is quite cool. You actually stand, pick your feet up, you put one foot on the ground and you pick the other one up, you put your knees together and you stand there. And you'll notice you can find your balance, you're a little bit off balance, not too much, but you're a little bit off balance. Okay, remember, lateral movement and that. But close your eyes, okay? Because what you're doing is you're concentrating with your eyes over there and you're saying, okay, I'm balancing, so my eyes are looking there and I keep balance. The minute you close your eyes, you can only use your ears, okay? And the water or the endolymph in the the station tubes and all of those, right? They are moving, and as soon as that happens, you'll feel it's more difficult to grab your balance, especially because of that. Right. Now, I got a couple of questions for you. If I just get there, come on. Let's change pens and let's see. There we go. That's what I was looking for. There we go. So we have 1 to 12, and there we go. It's a simple little things, and I want you to have a look at this. Okay, there we go. Come on, don't jump around. Okay, state the number or numbers and names of the parts associated with each of the following statements. Okay, so let's have a look. First one, okay, the part that intensifies sound waves. So if I have a look, what part intensifies sound waves? Can you remember? Think about it very carefully. Okay, here we go. Let's see how it works. It is definitely, I don't know why this thing is jumping so much today. Okay, it is your malleus. Okay, let me do this. Let's see if we can move it. It is your malleus, incus, and stapes. Oh, your malleus, there it is, your malleus, your incus, and your anvil. Okay, those are the ones that amplified, because as those bones move, they amplified. It produces more pressure as we're going along. Right, those are quite cool. The next one I have for you, same thing. Let's see, same picture. Okay, hopefully I can have a look. State the number. Okay, state the, oh, I didn't even tell you the number, hey, did I? Because this thing was messing around. It would be, on the other one, it would have been 3, 4, and 9. 3, 4, and 9. Okay, if I had to do this one, okay, state the part that carries the impulse to the brain. It is to the brain. If I bring it up, it would be 7. Okay, let's have a look if it is. There we go, the auditory nerve. Remember, 7's auditory nerve, goes from the ear all the way down up to the brain. Cool. Next one I've got for you. Let's see. Okay, state the number, same thing. State the number. Come on. There we go. The part that is responsible for balance. The part that is responsible for balance. Think about it carefully. Can you remember motion, everything like that? Okay, I'm giving you these very quickly. Let's see what it's like. Okay, and it of course is your semicircular. Come on. It'll be your semicircular canals. These ones up here, and it is number, if I bring it up, it is number 5. These are simple. I'm sure you're getting these very quickly. And that's why I haven't given you too much time. I thought we could do this nice and quick. Next one. The part that ensures that air pressure, oh, I haven't taught you this. The air pressure is equal on both sides of the eardrum. Let's have a look at this. Let's see if you know this. The part that does air pressure on each side of the eardrum. Of course, it is, and I'll explain it now in 2 seconds again, just to make sure you understand. It is your, come on, it is your gestation tube. And if I have a look at this, there it is. Let's get some things going over here. Your eardrum, there's the hole. There's the eardrum, and there's your tympanic membrane, right? And there's the inner ear. Okay, now the pressure that builds on this side, okay, so there's air pressure on the inside. Remember, pressure on the outside, the pressure on this side of the tympanic membrane must be the same as the pressure on this side. Otherwise, it's not going to be able to move, okay? And have you noticed that when you're driving sometimes, or when you got high pressure, it feels like your ears are blocked, or when you're sick, it feels like your ears are blocked, right? Now, what's happening is the pressure on the inside is either more or less than the pressure on the outside, okay? It's actually a bit more. Now, if you are a diver, for example, you go deep under the ocean, okay? And you got to learn to do this thing called equalizing, because the water's pushing all this pressure on your ears. And then what they make you do is you make you do this, close your nostril, you blow gently through your eustachian tube, and you put air in there to equalize the pressure. It's a very, very important thing, because that thing, those eardrums burst, we are in a bit of trouble. Okay, there we go. I've just given you that picture one more time so you remember it. Very, very important picture. Okay, now, for some reason, these things are not working today. Hearing defects and disabilities. Let's have a look. You have a couple of, okay, you have your middle ear defect, okay, which is, they can fix with grommets, okay? They put tiny little holes in there with these little tubes, and it creates equal amount of pressure on each side, okay? Now, let's have a look at the deafness, okay? You have sensory neural hearing loss, okay? You can get noise, which helps with hearing loss. So if it's too loud, you're going to start destroying it, okay? And then you get your genetic hearing loss. In other words, something in your genetics stop you. Okay, so those are the three that you do get. You get different diseases that can affect it. You have measles that damage the nerves, okay? You get meningitis that damages the nerves in the cochlea, okay? You get mumps, which sensory neural hearing loss, okay? It's also with the nerves, remember the auditory nerve, okay? Then you get syphilis, right? Which unborn fetus affected. So in other words, before the fetus is affected, it's not going to make the ears. And then you get auditory immune disease, which damages the cochlea. Remember, without the cochlea, we're not going to send impulses to the brain. It's cool, huh? Now, what I've done is put this here. What is the middle ear infection and how can it be solved? What is a middle ear infection and how can it be solved? And I'm going to give you a quick 2 minutes. Let's see if you can get that right. 2 minutes. And are you ready? Off you go. So let's have a look at what you came up with, right? We're going to have a look at this quickly. It's an inflammation in the middle ear, first of all. The middle ear is infected by bacteria, okay? Extreme pain because the pressure is built up on the eardrum. The pressure is caused by the bacteria, okay? The eustachian tube becomes blocked, so cannot equalize the pressure, which I told you about, okay? The eardrum may burst, which pus drains out of the ears. How horrible is that? Antibiotic generally prescribed because we can kill the bacteria, okay, and the hearing decreases and the infection may lead to grommets later on. Right, so that is your middle ear infection. It's a horrible thing, and a lot of people have it. You'll notice when you get sick, you do get it. Right. Hope you heard this all. And remember, I said heard this all. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'm sure we will see you soon. Have a good time. Cheers.